want the pattern? In the description. Pattern in the description. And we're back again, and I'm sorry about your luck, but I am the only host here on the Crochet Crowd. We are gonna go see the shiny sea today for our American friends, and we are doing the Stars and Stripes Ripple Blanket. Got a little bit of detail in this one here because this is my third attempt to try to do this particular pattern, and it has been interesting. Hi, I'm Mikey from the Crochet Crowd, and thank you so much for joining our channel today. I'm here to inspire you and create magic with your crochet hook. Are you ready to play?
Oh yeah, sounds good.
So put my hands in my pocket so I don't get all gay on you. Oh, this pattern, honestly, over the years has been my nemesis. I tried to do it many years ago, and I couldn't figure out how the stars were connecting together, and then I couldn't figure out the rows to be able to go across. So I kind of put it away, and so I pulled it out 2 years ago. I asked my design team, or the VIP tester team, to actually help me go through this pattern, and all of us are kind of drawing blanks, but we're seeing that comments on Ravelry that the pattern may have issues. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's not me so after all. So I decided that based on a response from somebody earlier this week that maybe we can relook at it. So I've learned how to do crochet diagrams online, like on the computer. So I figured before I was doing it by hand. So I was getting the orientation wrong of the stars, and because I was doing it on a computer, I could just rotate the stars and figure out how everything goes. So I was able to locate the issues that I was having that is causing my own failure. And so what I did, I insist. I spent 6 hours and I did the crochet diagrams for this. And my goal isn't to diagram the whole pattern. My goal was to figure out how the stars connected to each other, what was the common denominator, and then what was the first rows to be able to go across the top and the bottom of the stars. And then once you get that, it's basically a ripple for the rest of it. And I'm making that sound really quite simple. But that's the hardest part, is the joining of the stars and creating that first line that goes across. So you'll notice that the upper line that you do and the bottom is not the same because it is a ripple. So it takes that into account. It's a great design. I love the finished look of this, and so it was one of those patterns over the years that has really bothered me that I haven't been able to figure it out, but I was able to yesterday, and I was able to cross-reference the math just to make sure, and I have now the crochet diagrams available to you on the Crochet Crowd. So without further ado, let's go on over to the studio desk. Let's buckle in and let's get started. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd, as hosted by my friends at Yarnspirations.com. Today is the Stars and Stripes Ripple Throw. What I'm about to show you today is actually, at the time of filming this, as of May 5th, 2022, the pattern has not been updated with the changes that I'm about to show you. So what I did over the years, as I was mentioning in the introduction, is that I was really struggling with this pattern, and what my really hang up was that I didn't understand the orientation of the stars and how they're going to work together. So all these crochet diagrams, look at this. Oh baby, they're all available for free for you so that you can have access to this. My goal is that once you understood how these are working together, so if you want to change the width of your blanket, what you have to do is always keeping it in an odd number of full stars. So you see there's only 5, so the next time it would have to be 7 or 9, and that's what you have to do. I don't have the information on how many stars you would need for a certain size, so when you're building these are connecting to each other. So when you start on the one side, you start connect. Okay, so that's kind of fun. And then what's going to happen is that we're going to start creating the ripple, and we have to have fun with these stitches in order to have the first row. Once the first row is determined, as we do it, we get our ripple effect, we have our math, and we have everything well worked out for you. Then you have to turn it upside down. So once you do the first part here, you turn it upside down and you do the other side. Now the other side here, because the orientation is different, the stitches are also different as well. And so we'll be covering that all within today's tutorial. So the entire panels that you see here, when you look at it right here, they're made up of 5 panels. So you have 5, so the striping of the stars is in the center. It builds out on both sides, and then it will connect through sewing those panels together, so you have the different ones that you have. So it's a really neat idea. It's a 45 inches wide by 60 inches long. It's a nice generous particular project, and you can have some fun. So recommending a size 6mm J crochet hook with Red Heart Super Saver if you wish, and I'm going to be just using a 5mm size H crochet hook, and I'll just be using some spare Caron 1 pound today. So each one of the panels has the star that is in the center of it, so we need to create this. So we're going to start off with the beginning half star, and then when you do the next star it's going to join as you go, and then you'll then do the next star. So there's full star A, full star B. The difference is that it's gonna tell you the information on which point that you're connecting to, but once you understand that this orientation, it's exactly the same star. The only difference is that it's assigning you the point numbers. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to create an odd number of these. Once you have all the ones that you want to create, and I'm going to do a total of 5 here, but once you're done at the end you just do the end star, so it's slightly different in the way that it's done, and you have to have that so that you can have this orientation work out. Okay, you ready? Let's jump in and begin the half star. This is the beginning half star first. So you're not able to see white on a white background, so I'm just using gold today. This color gold is actually found at Joann. So what I'm going to do is start off with a slip knot on my hook, and we're starting the beginning half star. So there's only one of these per panel, so you have a total of 5 panels, so you only have to do this one for every panel. Let's begin and chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and let's start. Okay, now that your chain 4 is in, we're going to do the following. So in the furthest chain away, it's the 4th one away, you are going to apply 6 double crochet and 3 trebles all within that same 4th one away. So let's count those up together. So we have the total of 6 double crochets first. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and you're not done. So the next 3 stitches have to be a little bit taller, and those will be 3 trebles. So wrap in the hook twice and do 3 of those. So we have 1, 2 and 3. Now before you move on, here's what I'm going to recommend to you. This is the beginning star. I would recommend to you that you would do something with your sheet of paper, and let's talk about that. Let's get some stitch markers and put those into play. So what I'm going to do is that I want to label the first one here, and I'm going to say there's a blue stitch marker. So with a pen or a pencil, it doesn't matter. I'm going to say it's blue. And I'm going to do that because I'm going to say to myself, once I get this whole line across, I'll always remember that the stitch marker that was blue is the beginning half star, because it will matter on where you are, because you can accidentally turn this thing upside down in order for you to get orientation when you do the first row after you've got everything connected. So what I'm going to do then is to apply a stitch marker just into the front side, and I'm also applying it to the front side of the work only, because when you turn it around you will not see it. So this means it's the wrong side. This is the right side. So whenever this star is facing up with the stitch marker hanging out and it's blue, then I know that this is the right side and also the beginning half star. Let's keep moving in this pattern. So right now I'm at the top of here. I need to slip stitch myself all the way back to this point where I can start doing this point here and here. So I'm not turning my work around, I'm just literally slipping across the edging here, and I will start then this section. So let's begin to do that, and the counting of that really doesn't matter so much, but just make sure that you're evenly doing that slip stitching so that it won't buckle on itself. Let's try that next. So at this top of the last treble I have to slip stitch myself evenly to the point of the top of the chain here that we started with. And so all you're just going to do is just carefully and just evenly space out your slip stitching to get yourself back to where you are to start a new round. I was wondering in this pattern when I was thinking about this before, is that if you turn the project around then you'll have a backside facing, and yet all the stars were done as a continuous revolution. So you want to slip stitch yourself all the way to the top of the first chain that you started with. Okay, when you chained 4, that was that chain, and then we're going to begin and start making your points. Let's begin that next. So right where I am, I want to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is going to create the point of the star. And second chain from the hook, there's nothing to connect to because it's the beginning one. You want to go second chain from the hook and turn it around to get the back hump of the chain because it'll look better and it'll be easier to maintain in the future when you're connecting. And you are going to just single crochet that one. You're going to double crochet the next one. And then the very last chain is that you're going to treble. So this is the point of your star. So here back on the project you want to skip 2 stitches and you want to slip stitch to the 3rd. And now that's one point and now you want to do another point. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Second chain from the hook and it's the same thing. So it's single crochet, then a double, and then the third one is a treble. And then how many stitches you're gonna skip. If you said 2, that's the right answer. So you're gonna go to the 3rd one and slip stitch and then that's the end of your star. This is the beginning star. So when you're looking at from the orientation point of view, the points will be coming down like this. Okay, it won't really matter yet. And what I want you to do is that when we go to fasten this stuff off, I would highly recommend that you weave in your tails with a tapestry needle at the time of doing it because you can end up with a lot of tails if you don't at the end and it might drive you nuts. So with the tapestry needle, just throw it through, just takes a few seconds. And just turn it to the back side of the star, and I can tell it's the back side because yeah, the stitch marker is not on this side so you can't see it. So this is the back of the star. So just separate some fibers, just don't go between stitch work, and then just go back and forth a total of 3 times. And you'll want to do that with any loose ends that you have. And that would be your beginning star. So I'll secure the other one in off camera. And this is the right side and this is the beginning half star. So now we're gonna start doing full stars to connect with each other. And so I would on a table lay it down with the orientation with these points going in the down direction and we're gonna start the next section next. So this is full star A is next. So the difference between A and B is the connection point in the instructions itself is still the same star. So when we go to start with this one here, we're going to start and we'll do our revolution going around, and when we do our very first point we're going to connect to this one right here, and then we'll finish that and we'll come down and then we'll connect to this one. So the stars will always connect to things once we go forward. So it's going to connect to the first and second point, and then the rest of the points will just stay bothered. And then when you start full star B, you're going to start over here, you'll do the first full point and then it's the second and the third that will join over here. So if you need to mark anything with a stitch marker you can do that, but I find once I get started on this it's probably pretty easy. Let's begin full star A. Let's begin full star A with a slip knot, and we need to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. This will count as a double crochet when we go around this thing, and watch what we're gonna do. 4th chain from the hook like we did before. We are going to apply a total of 14 double crochet. So those 14 double crochet plus this chain will give you a total of 15 posts around. So just the 4th chain away, just start putting in your double crochets, and so we'll count those out together. So this is so I'm gonna consider the chain as 1, this is 2, and I need a total of 15. So the next one will be 3 and 4 5, 6, 7, 8. Noticing I'm going right over the straggler so I don't have to sew that in later. This is 9, and it's gonna get intense, like a lot in there. So this is 10, 11, 12, 13. Keep shoving them in. 14 and 15. And just don't rely on your first count. Make sure that you do count, recount. Make sure so the chain 3 counts as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15, and then slip stitch. Once you're confirmed as 15, slip stitch to the top of the first chain, and that will have that. If you went across the straggler like I was doing, right up over top of it, get rid of it, and we're ready to start the next round, which will do the connection to the other one. So in full star A, when we go to start out, you're going to chain a total of 4. So let's begin to do that. And 1, 2, 3 and 4, but you're not done. I need you to slip stitch to the top one here. Okay, and you're just going to go into the space that's created at the point, and you're going to come up from the underside like that and pull through, and this is a slip stitch. Make sure that when you come back to this one here, it doesn't turn over. And if you're not sure, mark things with a stitch marker. It's the only way to help. So you're gonna go back down this chain like you had been before, and so it's telling you to skip the slip stitch, which we just created, and skip the next chain, and you're gonna start here. So just look at it from this point of view. 1, 2 and 3. So it's the third one that you can see, and so you'll do your point as you know it. So it'll be single crochet and then double. And what's your next one? Did you say treble? Great. If you didn't, okay, we'll keep on moving along, right? So you got your treble. How many stitches are you going to skip here? Do you see it? You're going to skip these 2 and slip stitch here. Okay. Now you're going to start the next point, and you're going to join it to the star, to the beginning star, or to any star. Okay, it's the next one. So you're going to chain 4. And make sure that when you're about to join that the orientation has not turned upside down. You can see the right side is facing up, and so you'll come to the next point that's available to you, and you'll slip stitch from the bottom side, coming up through, slip, and then come back down the working chain that you're working on. If you're not sure, look here. 1, 2, 3. That one right there is the first single crochet. Get the back hump of the chain. You'll like yourself a lot better later. And that's a solid piece of advice for this particular pattern. So you single crochet, you double, then you treble. And then how many stitches are you going to skip? Can you get it right this time? So you're going to skip 2, slip stitch to the third, and now the remaining of the points of this particular star are unintended, like they're not attaching to anything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, second chain from the hook, you do your single down, your double, and then your treble. Okay, and then you skip how many? Skip 2, go to the third, slip stitch, and do another point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, second chain from the hook, and double, and then treble. Skipping 2, go to the third, and so this will be the fifth and final point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, second chain from the hook. So you can see that when you're not joining anything, it's pretty easy, right? It's the same stuff. And then when you come back to where you had started, you're just going to slip stitch to right where that starts, and you're done. Now I've already shown you how to weave in your ends, so when you put it back down in your table, put it down in the orientation that you see, that this is up, this is down, the next star will go up like that. And so let's get rid of our tails. And like I said before, I'd recommend that you get rid of any tails as you go,
it'll be a lot easier, and favor the back side for hiding in any loose ends and etc. So I'm going to move on now to full star B, and again the difference is in the instructions on which point that you're connecting to, but once you can see it from a diagram point of view, it's a lot easier. So I'll be right back in a moment. So back on the instructions, we're now going to do this star. It's the same star with what you know, and the difference is where it's connecting in the instructions, but it's still the same. So you can see that the orientation of this chain 3 is in a different location. That's the difference. Okay, so when we start, we're going to do the first point without connecting, and then the second and the third will connect to the existing, and just look at the orientation as we go, and let's begin. And when you have your other piece down here, just leave it in the same orientation as the diagram, because it'll be a lot easier. So you're connecting in this one to these two here, leaving this here at the very base of the ripple. Okay, let's begin this next. Let's begin slip knot and chain 4. So this is full star B. So 1 2 3 4, and then the 4th chain from the hook, there's going to be a total of 14 double crochets that you're adding. So this chain 3 is considered one of them, so you want a total of 15, if that makes any sense. So I would say this is 1 and 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 and 15. Now I would recommend that you count. Honestly, just do it. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 and 15. Confirming 15, slip stitch to the top of the chain. Get rid of any of that tail if you went right over the top of it. Hopefully you did. And then we're going to begin the next round, which is going to connect to that existing piece that we have working on this so far. So with this not too far away, just start, and you're going to chain a total of 4. So the first one does not connect to anything. So chain 4, second chain from the hook, single crochet in, and then double into the next, and then treble into the next, and then how many are you going to skip? Hopefully you said 2. So skipping 1 2, go to the third, slip stitch. This one here is now going to connect to here, and so they're going to connect to the two top ones, and you start with the top one and then the bottom coming around. So chain 4, so 1 2 3 4, and from the underside get to the point. This is the top one, pull through, it's a slip stitch, and then do you know which ones that you need to connect with? It's the third, 1 2 and 3. Okay, and that's the one you're going to start with your single crochet, and then your double, and then your treble, and then how many you're going to skip? Hopefully you said 2, 1 and 2, so slip stitch to the third. Now if you are losing orientation, just lay it back down so you can see it. So you connect it to the first one. Okay, now the next one is going to connect to this one here. So this one point is going to be at the very bottom, which is the bottom of a ripple. So to connect the next one, you're going to chain a total of 4 to begin. 3 4, connect to the next one with the slip stitch. Always connect in the same direction. So if you're going to go down through the top, going down, it may not look right, but if you're always doing it, then it will be fine. But just make sure you're not jumping around like a jackrabbit. Once you slip stitch, connect 1 2 3, go to the third one and start your single crochet to create the point. So I start with a single, and then double, and then treble. and then you're coming back into this one here. There's no more connection spots now, and now you're gonna skip 2, single slip stitch into the next one, the third one away, and then you're gonna create the final 2 points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, second chain from the hook, single crochet, so you can go as many as you want to go for this particular concept. You just have to create the starting of this, and there has to be an odd number of stars in order for this to work. So skipping 2, slip stitch to the third, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And so the reason why you're doing an odd number is that you have to have the orientation so that the opposite side finishes in the same direction facing up. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so you got your last one, so you slip stitch to where you had started, and then that is the final star. So you'll want to get rid of your yarn tails and keep the orientation. So now you can see that it's up, down, up, and where's the next one? It's gonna be down. So the top here is gonna be open, and then this one will be open. So basically it's the top of the peak, bottom of the peak. So then it will be bottom of the peak, top, and etc. So get rid of your tails and let's talk. Now the whole pattern has a total of 17 full stars, so ignore the beginning one, and so there should be 17, which is an odd number. So you're just gonna continue to build it. And so before we were showing how to build number A to these points here. In this particular one, once you come over here, it's these two. You'll see that on the diagram as well. And so then in the next one after that, it'll be back to here. So what you're doing is you're paying attention to the tops and the bottoms and how they're falling down. And so I'm going to produce the number of stars that you see in the diagram itself. So I got to do 3 more stars, and then I'll show you how to do a half star. Now this blanket is relatively narrow, so it's only 45 inches long. So if you want a longer blanket, add more stars. Just make sure it's an odd number, but I will not know the stitch counts as far as like how many stars you should do for the width. So just continue to play. And so if you're laying it down like this, you'll be able to see how long this is. So if you want it longer, you can just make it longer. And yeah, so I don't know like how many stars equals a certain size. So if you want to do a baby size, again, just lay it down and say, is it wide enough? Yes or no. Is there odd stars in the full stars? Yes. So therefore you can just do your ending pieces in order to have that to work. So I will get the rest of this as you see in the diagram. So the other 3 stars done, and I will be right back in a moment. So when I last left you, I was finishing my second star. So you can see I've gone up and down, and once I shut my mouth these actually 3 stars did not take very long at all, and I was just banging them out. I'm like, oh, anyway, the show Circle started yesterday on Netflix. Oh my god, it's 2022. I am completely just thinking about that in my head. A hashtag Circle junkie. So what I want to do is that this is now an odd number of full stars. Just ignore that beginning. So this here, you see that it's going up. It's in the up, down, up, down, up, down. So the last one of the half end star is going in the up motion on this side. So you will have this. I wouldn't worry about the stars kind of like their tips kind of folding in right now, because when you go across it's gonna pull it down. So let's do our half star. So if you have an odd number of stars here and you're ready to go, we're gonna start the half star next, and this is the ending. So what I want to call your attention to, do you see how when we started this one we ended up and we didn't finish all the stitches here? On this side what's gonna happen is that when we start off, see these stitches here, they're gonna remain untouched up here. And so because of that, you end up with the right amount of stitches that you need. Okay, so the point here is gonna go right into the point as it connects down, just like it did here. There's a consistency, but the pattern has to be written differently in order to have the orientation like that. So let's begin, and we're gonna starting off with chain 5 instead, and that is going to count as one of the trebles, because remember there was 3 trebles over here, so you end up with 3. Let's start you over here. Let's begin. So I'm gonna keep this nice and close because we're gonna connect pretty quickly to this, and we're gonna start off with our slip knot, and you need to chain a total of 5, so that will count as a treble when you're starting to work through this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5th chain from the hook, which is where you started, you want to place in 2 trebles to start you off. So with that chaining that you just skipped, that's considered 1 treble, and then these 2, that gives you the number 3, which has the balance of the beginning half star that you started with. At this particular point then we have to put in our double crochets. Do you know how many they are? There's a total of 7 of them. So here you're in the same beginning one, you're going to place in 7 double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and don't go anywhere, just hold on tight, and what I'm going to do is show you how to get back over to here because it's the same process of moving across. So at the top of this double crochet, what we have to do is we have to slip stitch ourselves to the top of this chain 5 that we started with. So we're just going to equally space out those slip stitching along the posts and give it a bit of slack because slip stitching can be pretty tight and buckle things. So just be generous about your stitch work. They're suggesting in these long chain areas just 1 slip stitch in each of the chains until you get all the way to the very top, which is where I'm currently sitting right now. So then we're going to begin and we're going to start, and this one that we just went into, we need to slip stitch to the 3rd one or here. So you have 1 that it's currently, this is the 2nd and the 3rd. Okay, so it's in that top of that one, and then you're ready to go and begin. So you're going to start and you'll chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we need to go back to here and we need to get the top one. Okay, so this bottom one is going to remain untouched, and again attach it the same way that you have been doing all the rest. Okay, and then come back here and remember it's the 3rd one. So 1, 2, 3. Start off with your single crochet first. Depending on my tightness, sometimes it's easy to get it into that back hump and sometimes it's not, and so it's depending on my mood swing and how much I'm paying attention. Usually once I get the first one it's in, it's good. So 1 single crochet and then a double and treble, and then how many do you skip? Did you say 2? So 1, 2, go to the 3rd, slip stitch, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then connect to the next one here. Let me just back you out a little bit here. Coming through, and then 1, 2, 3. It's this one. The back hump is kind of important, but if you want to grab it somewhere else you can. Some people like leaving comments that what I'm suggesting it doesn't always work for them, which is completely fair. So you have to determine what's going to work for you. And then once you get that last one in, you were just going to go right to the very last one here and slip stitch. And then that's it. And there is the end. So you want to trim that off. This is a half star. And so we'll always know by where we place the stitch marker on the first one which side it's facing up and which side where we're going to start with next. And in the pattern it has a starting on the lower stripe first, the stripe of the panel, and we'll be doing that next when we come back. I'll bring you back to the diagram when we'll talk. So get rid of any loose tails that you have so that you have a nice clean section, and you can do all of your particular pieces all at the same time, and it may be much easier for you to do that because then it's less memory work for you as well. So I'll be right back in a moment. See how we have the right side facing up? We want to start right here, and it's like a flat edge. It's right there. That's where we want to begin our journey as we start a little lower. So now we're going to begin the lower stripe panel. So right where we finished is right here. So if the right side is facing up that you see on this side, so you'll see your stitch marker here. So this is where we started. So when we go to start row number 1 as we do the lower stripe, we should be on this side. It's the very last ending star that you did, like the end half star. So what's gonna happen is that we're gonna have our sequence coming down and then back up, and so right where you see that there's really an indentation happening right here, it wants to fill it in so that we're keeping that shaping, and then the pattern starts repeating over and over and over as soon as we get to this section here, and then over and over. So the beginning and the ending is slightly different, so just make sure that we're paying attention to that. So let's begin. So let's begin. I'm gonna create a slip knot and use whatever color that you want. I'm outside the box with the colors today. It's gonna kind of remind me a bit of a circus theme. You can decide what's right for you. So right where you want to join is where the top of that chaining that we had. Remember when we had to do that chain? So it looks like the slip stitching is here that we did, which is true. So you gotta make sure that you are attaching to there. Okay. You're gonna pull through and then we're gonna start. So when we do this sequence, we're going to be going down the hill, hit the valley, and then we're gonna go up the peak. So we've attached it and now we're going to chain one and you'll single crochet in the same one that you did the attaching with. I'd recommend going up over top of the straggler to hold it down underneath, and you can use a tapestry needle to secure that more in later. So I'll try to go as slow as I can. I'm not always successful with that, but we'll try. And so what we need to do is that we need to single crochet the next 2 stitches that are in a row. Do you see those? And so you'll do those 2. So the endings, the beginning and the ending of each one of these rows is slightly different from the remaining section in the middle. Just keep that in mind. Okay. So now we have those 2. Now we have to immediately see the side of this striping here. How many stitches do you see? Do you see 3? Should. 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna apply 1 single crochet in each one of those 3. So 1, 2, and 3. So now those 3 are in, we're gonna come in right into where the slip stitching is happening, that is joining the 2 stars together, and you're gonna go right into the slip stitch itself. Now we have 3 stitches left that are going in before you hit the valley of this whole thing. So do you see the side of the next star, the point? The 3 stitches each get 1 single crochet each. So 1, 2, and 3. So it's almost creating a straight line here. Now we're going to start, and when you start, do you see the next point here? You're going to jump over where everything is connecting into this middle section, and you're going to start going up. So here's going to be the sequence that is going to take you up to the peak and then back down to the valley, and this is going to be the sequence to do that. So starting on the side of the star, you're going to single crochet the first 3 in a row. So we have 1, and do the next one, 2, and then the next one, 3. You're then going to go into the slip stitch that is joining between the stars. Okay, so here is the next point. So in the first 2 stitches only, you are going to apply 1 single crochet. And now this is where it's gonna get fun. The next stitch, the connection spot, and the next stitch in the next point is all going to be a 3 treble cluster. How you do that? You wrap the hook twice, and going into the next stitch, put in, yarn over, pull through, then yarn over, pull through 2 and 2, and hold. You're gonna do that a total of 3 times. So come into the next one. This is where the slip stitching is joining, so wrap twice and going in, pull through 2 and 2, and hold. Now you're gonna come into the first stitch that is part of this going up, sorry, the second stitch that it, sorry, the first stitch that's coming up into the point. You're gonna do that one, and that's gonna be part of that treble. And then once those 3 are done, you're gonna yarn over, pull through the 3, and that was a 3 together cluster. And what this is doing is it's filling in the hole that will happen because of the star shape. The very next one here is going to be a double crochet. The very next here as part of the point is going to be a single crochet. and then right here on the top of the point is going to be 3 single crochet. So we have 1, 2 and 3. So we've successfully gone up the hill. Now we're going to come down the other side. What happens on this side is a mirror that's going to happen in the down motion going down. So going down the hill, we have to get the first one in, and it's going to be a single crochet. The next one is also going to be a single crochet. And then the next one plus the connection spot and this one here is going to be a 3 treble cluster. And remember, the third one is part of the next star, or the point. And then once all the 4 loops that you can see, pull through all of those. Let's continue down the hill. So the base of the hill is here. So coming into the very next one here, we want to put in a double crochet. Sorry, I wrapped twice. It should have just been one time. So the next one is a double crochet going in. And then the last one on this point here is a single crochet. Single crochet into the connection spot between the two. That's the slip stitch that connects them. Okay. And then you have 3 stitches that are left that are part of this point, which is going to finish off going in the down motion. I'm going to take you back up once and back down. So those 3 get filled in. So you've just successfully now created the motion, and it will get more comfortable later, like it'll settle more later. So let's begin, and I'm going to show you the sequence going up and back down one more time. So let's start. You're going to go in the up motion again, so you're going to go to the first one that is part of this next point. So you're skipping over the connection spot, and you are going to single crochet the 3 of those. So you're going to do the first one, the second, and the third. Now you're going to single crochet in the connection spot. You're going to single crochet the next 2 that you have in this point. Now we're going to do the 3 treble cluster using this stitch, the connection, and the first one of the next point. Once you see the 4, pull through all of them, and the very next stitch after this is going to be a double crochet. The next one is going to be a single crochet, and then you're at the peak, and in the peak you're going to put in 3 single crochets, so it does the point. 1, 2, and 3. You're then going to go and you're going to start in the down motion. Okay, so let's start off, and we're going to single crochet the first 2 that you'll have. 1 and 2, and then it will be the 3 treble cluster, so using this one, the connection, and the one of the next point. You are going to double crochet into the next one, single crochet into the next one, which is part of the same point, and then you were going to single crochet in the slip stitch that joins the stars. We're still in the down motion. The bottom of the peak is right here. And if you're never sure, just see how this is pointing down. That will show you that this is the peak of this side, so this has to be the valley. So carrying on to go down, the next 3 are each in this point of a single crochet. And that is the end of the sequence once again. So you can see that once we add more to this, it'll be a lot more stable and the stars will begin to really shine. So I want you to keep doing that sequence until you're ready to go up at the final that we have right here, and because that's going to be different than what you already have been doing. So let's concentrate on that. So do your sequence, put me on pause now, and you can just reverse the video back if you just need to see this sequence over and over, and I'm going to start with the ending of row number 1. Once you have your sequence done over and over and over, you're going to come up on your final side. So the goal is that you only have to have 10 stitches left when you start. So you're just going to jump over to the next point to go back up, and so you're going to single crochet the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then single crochet in the slip stitch that connects them. And then you're going to single crochet the next 3 on this point. So 1, 2, and 3. So there's going to be 3 stitches left, and do you see where this is kind of finishing up here? That kind of is the end stitch. So if you're not sure where to go, this is the top 1 and 1. So this is the connection spot. So just jump on over it. Feel free to do that, and just single crochet the final 3 that you have left. And what I would do if I were you, just verify that you have 10 stitches going up on the one side. So at the point of going up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you know that you're finishing just right. So we're now going to move on to row number 2, and now it's going to get much easier from this point. So now what we're going to do is 2, 3, and 4. This is still the lower stripe, and now it's just going to turn into the natural look of going up and down into the rippling effect. To start off, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet twice into here. So single crochet twice. So in the tops of the peaks, we need to add stitches while we're subtracting stitches at the base of the valleys. So to go down, then what we have to do is that we have to single crochet the next 8 that you have. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And if your math is right, you should have one more stitch before the ending of it going down. And so then there's that one stitch, so I know that this is right. So I'm going to skip that stitch, which is the same one of going down, and the first stitch before going up. Skip both of those, and then start single crocheting then the next 9. So skip 2 and single crochet the next 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And 9 takes you to the first stitch of the grouping of 3. The next one, which is the top peak, is going to be 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. So how many stitches do you need to go down? Remember that the outside edge is different. So we had 9 stitches going up, so that means that we have 9 stitches going down. So starting, there's 3 are at the top. Start and count. So do 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that should take you to the second last one before the valley finishes. You're going to skip that one plus the first one going up the other side, and then just single crochet the next 9 going up. So skipping the 2 and do 9 going up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and the next one is in the middle one of the grouping of 3, so there will be 3 single crochets there. So I recommend on this row to count so that you get everything, because in the next rows you won't have to as much if you can identify your stitches. So 9 going down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that should take you to the second one before the ending of it going down. So skip that one and the next one going up and just do the final. So the very final is going to be only 8 going up. So once you get to the very end of this, so it's 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And the very last one is going to be 2 single crochets. And you're going to turn your work, and that was row number 2. And now you can really start seeing it taking effect. So let's begin row number 3 and 4. So row number 3 and 4 is exactly what you already know. If you can identify your bottom 2 stitches that you need to skip, then you don't need to obsessively count. If you can identify the top middle one of the top, then you don't need to excessively count. That's up to you on how you're going to do this. So row number 3 is just chain up 1 and put 2 single crochets into the same stitch. And can you identify the 2 that are at the base? These 2, right? So if you know that those are the 2, you can just safely just go on and just, without counting, just go on down. And remember, there's 8 going down, just in case you need to know that. And I'm looking to where they jump over each other, which is right here. So I'm going to skip these 2 and then just go up, and it's 9 going up if you want to count. But again, if you can do this without having to do that, you'll save yourself a lot of grief if you can just identify your stitches. Okay, and then the next one is the middle one of the grouping of 3, so it's going to get 3 single crochet. So either use the math, use the graph, or use your eyes just to determine what you're doing, and then I'll be back in a moment to finish off row number 4. So coming into my very last one before I do the turn, and remember it has 2 single crochets in it, and then row number 4. Row number 4 is exactly what I've already shown you. So now you're just going to continue along and just chain up 1, put 2 single crochet in the first one, and then just go down. And if you can identify the 2 middle to jump over, then do that. And then if you can identify the middle top one, put in 3 single crochets. So just do what you already know, and this will be row number 4. So coming to the end of number 4. Now the instructions say to fasten off and be finished. Now I don't know why this is, but I'm just going to go with it because I trust the designer. And what I'm going to do, or what it's telling us to do, is that this is done. This is the right side, I can tell. Let me just back you out here. I can tell where the right side is based on the stitch marker. So now the designer is asking us to jump to the other side here to start the upper stripe. And we are going to finish this later on, but we're not going to do that right now. So what we have to do is that we have to turn the project around. So then see this here, this is the right side, this is the beginning star. We're going to turn it around, and we're going to start doing the other section going up and down to fill this in. That other section, this is the upper stripe. We're going to do the complete stripe sequence, and then we're going to come back and do this. Do not remove this stitch marker. I think it's going to be quite handy for you. And let's flip in our diagram to the next part. So in our diagram, we're now flipped it over, and this is the beginning star. I've already flipped it to show you that. And see the blue here? This is what we're doing. This is what this section is. So now I'm going to show you row number 1. It's a different sequence than what we just did up below because of where we are. Okay, so we're going to get that stabilized, and then rows number 2, 3, and 4 is exactly what you already know here. So that's why I didn't put it in the diagram, because A, it was a lot of work to do that, but B, it's really the same thing over and over. And we're going to begin and start yarn row number 1. So let's join your yarn and let's get started. So let's begin, and where we have to join it is actually the first one of the point here. Okay, And so 1, 2, 3. So do you see the point? So 1, 2, and 3, it's right there. That's where we're going to join. Then chain 1 and 1 single crochet. Okay, so now you got 2 more that are here as part of the point, and so you're just going to put 1 single crochet in each. I'd recommend again going over the top of the tail so that you can hide those in later if you wish. So do that one and then do the last one of that point. You're now going to single crochet in the slip stitch that joins the stars together. In this point, the next 2 are each going to be 1 single crochet. Over the next one and the connection and this one here is going to be that 3 treble cluster. Once you see the 4 loops pull through, the next one in this point is going to be a double crochet, and then the final one in this point is going to be 1 single crochet. In the point itself, you can tell now that you're actually in a top of a peak, so in the very top of this one here you want to apply 3 single crochets. So we have 1, 2 and 3. This will begin the real cycle now of going down and then back up and then down and back up, and the starting and the ending are different from the rest of it. So let's start our down sequence, and so here we go. The next one in a row is the next one is a single crochet. The next one is a double crochet. The next 3, this one, the connection, and this one that is part, is going to be a 3 treble cluster. Okay, once you see the 4 loops, pull through all of them. The next one is going to be a double crochet. So you see it's slightly different than what you did before. Double crochet. The next one here, the final one of this point, is going to be 1 single crochet. You're going to apply a single crochet in the slip stitch that attaches the 2 stars together. Then you're going to continue to work down. This here, see how it's the valley? This here is the valley of this one, so it's just these 3 left without the connection that is going to be finishing it. So the next 3 are part of just this point. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now let's continue up the hill the other side. Starting in this point right here, the first 3 are each being a single crochet. So we have 1, 2, and 3. We have a single crochet in the slip stitch that joins the 2 stars together. We have a single crochet in the first one of this point right here. And now we're going to start filling in some spots. So we're going to start off with the double crochet in the next. The next 3, this, the connection, and this are going to be a 3 treble cluster. Okay, and then pull through all 3. The next one after this is a double crochet, and then the final one in this peak is a single crochet before going over the edge, and then over the edge is going to be your 3 single crochets. If you're not sure where to put it, just be consistent. I'm gonna take you through the cycle once more. Okay, so now you've just gone from the top down and back up. So let's go down the sequence once again. The first one out is going to be a single crochet. Okay, the next one is a double crochet. Using the next three, that's a cluster treble, a 3 treble cluster. So use those 3. Once you see the 4 loops pull through, the next one is a double crochet. Okay, the next one is a single crochet. You're going to single crochet in the slip stitch that connects the stars, and then continuing down, you can see that this is the valley, so this must be the valley, so you have the 3 that are here in the point that will finish the sequence. Okay, and then back up the other side. So starting in the next one, going back up, so on this point, skip over the connection spot and just go the next 3. Single crochet into the slip stitch that connects the stars, and then single crochet the next one after the point or after the connection. So if you can identify that you're filling in these spaces that dip down, it gets a lot easier to recognize the stitch work that you have to apply. So the next one is a double crochet, and then over the next 3 is that cluster, that treble cluster. And then double crochet in the next, single crochet in the last one, and then at the top then apply your 3 single crochet. So I need you to keep doing this sequence over and over and over until you get to the very end, and I'll show you how to do the ending, but it should be laying relatively flat and the stars are aligning perfectly. Pardon the pun. And let's begin, and I'll show you how to go down, but just get that cycle done and then I'll show you how to do the final. So let's do the final to go down. Okay, and so then the first one after the point is 1 single crochet, and then you're just gonna fill in with what you already know. So then the next one to coming in is a double crochet. Over the next 3, it's a 3 treble cluster. Okay, the next one is a double crochet, and then a single crochet in the next. So now that this is in, this time you're going to skip over this connection spot and you're going to just do your last 4 stitches that you have. Okay, so you're gonna skip over the connection, you're not gonna do it this time, and you'll single crochet in the first one, the second, the third, and then finally right here is your 4th. The goal is to make sure you get the right number of stitches left in order to make that happen. Okay, so it should stay relatively flat on you. It does for me. And now we're going to begin rows number 2, 3, and 4 with what you already know that you learned here. So let me turn our work and get started. Okay, so we're going to turn our work to get started. What is the difference in this time is that you're starting in the valley going up. So before, when we started, we did 2 single crochets to keep the sequence. Here we have to skip one of the stitches right at the base when we're going to do this on the ending and the beginning and the ending. So when you start this one, you're going to chain 1 and you'll single crochet the first one, and you're going to automatically skip the next single crochet out. And you're going to single crochet then the remaining until you get to the top of the peak. Okay, so I'm looking for the grouping of 3 single crochets that share the same stitch, and it's the middle one of the grouping of 3 is where I will place in 3 single crochets, which is right here. So you can either keep the sequence, you can count those on the diagram, like as far as like keeping the sequence of the counting if you want, or you can just visually look at it in order to make that judgment call. So in the top peak is going to be 3 single crochets. Like we did before, when we got to the bottom of the base, if you can identify where it is, and if you're not sure, just count it out and remember how many it was. It was 9 going down, and then you jump over the 2 middle, and then 9 going back up. So let's just do it, and I would do it in this particular row so that you can find it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So then the next one and the next one I'm going to skip, and then I'm going to do the next 9 going back up to the next slope. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then the next one should be the middle one of the grouping of 3, which it is. And so that'll be 3 single crochets. So you decide what you want to do. I can't identify the bottoms very easily on this particular row, but I will be able to next time. So just remember 9 going down, skip 2, 9 going back up, and I will meet you at the ending sequence going on the final decline. So put me on pause, and I'll see you there in a few moments. Finally, as you come down, there's going to be 8 stitches, but what you have to do is you have to make sure that you skip the one before the very end to jump over. So I would count it just to make sure. Maybe it might be helpful for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So once you get that, you'll skip the next one and just single crochet the next. And that allows you to eliminate a stitch so that you're keeping in the sequence. So now that you can really clearly see now the ripples, you can do rows number 2 and 3 just the same way that you know. So just making sure that you skip over the second one after and the one just before the end, and make sure you put your 3s in the tops and just continue to do that. So let's just do those 2 rows on your own, and I'll be back in a moment and we're going to continue. So don't we're going to fasten off, but we're going to continue in the sequence for the upper stripe panel. So when you start off, remember chain up 1 single crochet in the first, skip the next, and single crochet to the peak, 3 in the peak, and then come on down and skip the 2 middles, and etc. And I will see you at the end of row number 4 in a moment. Just to reiterate, make sure you skip the second last one before the edge and just going into the very last one to keep the sequence. So that was row number 3, and then start row number 4. I'm scared that people are going to ignore that, so just skip 1 and then just start on the next one going up and over, and I will see you at the end of number 4 for real this time. Okay, I'm at the end of number 4. So basically the top and the bottom piece are now unequal. I'm going to get rid of this color, and you can choose any color that you'd wish to carry on with. In this case, in the coloring sequence, it would be red if you were doing that, and so you can kind of really see how you want to do this. So we're now going to go on to rows number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and so you're going to do those with the new color. In the sample case it's red, and you can decide what is right for you. So I will be right back in a moment. Rows number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, they're all going to be the same color, and they're also going to be row number 2, which is what we're already starting. So when you get started and you're still doing the upper right stripe panel, you're going to join it, chain 1 and 1 single crochet in the first. I can use white now because I've already shown you how to do this several times. So now I'm going to jump the first one like I did before, go to the second, and you're going to go up. And so I need you to do those rows number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 using the same color, whatever color you're deciding to go with today, and continue that, and I will see you at the end of number 9 in a few moments from now. So it's just up and down with these single crochets, doing exactly what you already learned. So I'm at the end of the sequence of number 9. I just clued in on how this pattern actually works. So what we're doing is that we're building the upper stripe all the way, and what's going to happen is that the next striping that you will do, the next panel, will butt up against here. and what I realized in is that when we go to finish your blanket at the very end, this piece here, we build it going in the opposite direction, going back down. So I just kind of include that in. So I thought I'd share that. So we're now going to move on to rows number 10 and 11. Let's change our color in the pattern that we see with this particular width. It is actually going to be the white. Okay, so we're going to do that, and let's try that next. So I'm just going to get some new yarn ready. I'm just playing with some spare yarn today. So I'm going to turn it from where I finished, and now we're going to begin the next 2 rows using this color. And it's the same thing as what you already know. So you're going to attach it, chain 1 single in the first. You're going to automatically skip that next one coming out, and then just start going up in the hill, and you'll have 3 in the valley, or 3 in the top, and then you will have going all the way down, skipping the 2 middles, and etc. So please do this for rows number what do we have, 10 and 11, and then we're going to keep this color and do something different after that. Now, as a full disclaimer, I'm finding these single crochets are pretty condensed, so if you're seeing it that it's coming up, just stretch it out a little bit and tell it to relax. Relax. Okay, so let's finish up our last one here, and we're going to keep this color going as we move into the next row, but we're going to be changing what we're up to in order to make that happen. So let's do that row next. So row number 12, we're going to be creating what looks like baubles, and you can see that if you squint really carefully at the sample. And you're going to start by chaining 1, and you'll single crochet into the first 2 stitches. So noticing that you're not skipping any stitches going up. It says 3 double crochet cluster in the next stitch. So what this means is that they want you to wrap the hook, and going into the next stitch, pull through 2 and hold. And you want to do that 3 times. So wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold, and then wrap and in, pull through 2 and hold. You should see 4 loops. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops, just like that. Now we need to continue to go up the hill. So once we do that, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So we have 1, 2 and 3, and then we have to do that cluster again. So in the next one, it's a 3 double crochet cluster. Okay, and then we're gonna just come up, and we're gonna continue after that one, and we want to go in there, single crochet the next 3. So 1, 2, 3, like that. Now we're going to continue along the top, so this is going to be continuing our sequence. So we're going to add that clusters once again. So what we're doing is that we're just continually adding these clusters in on this particular row. Okay, so once that's in, you do the next 3 in a row. So we have 1, 2 and 3, and then another cluster. So there's technically no tops or bottoms, which I'm just realizing. And then do the next 3. 2, 3, cluster into the next. So we have to do this, and we have to get this in a set number of times, and you will see that going up, if you turn it to the back side, you had 1, 2, peak, that's 3, 4 and 5. So there's 5 going over top of one of these pieces. Here, after you get the last one done in here, you're going to single crochet the next 4 in a row. So it's not 3. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then you repeat the sequence once again. So then you'll do your cluster. So let's do that going up. And then it's 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then a cluster. And then 1, 2, 3. And I know that I'm correct because I'm at the peak, and there should be a cluster right at the peak. and then going down the other side. So there's 3. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then it's a cluster. And then continuing down, so we have 1, 2, 3, and then a cluster. And then we're going to be finishing our sequence shortly. So after the last cluster is in, you're going to put 4 then single crochets in a row to take you through the valley. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you continue that sequence again. So then you put in your cluster, your 3, cluster your 3, and then eventually you'll end up on the other side. So what I'll do is I'll see you at the end of this. Just continue across, and I'll see you in the last few stitches when you get all the way across. I'll be right back in a moment. In coming all the way across, the last cluster is in and you only have 2 stitches left. You are just going to apply 1 single crochet in the final 2 and then turn it around, and then you can see the glory of what you just did. Pretty neat, right? So let's begin row number 13 and 14 using the same color. So rows number 13 and 14 is what you already know. It's row number 2, so just chaining up 1, you'll single crochet in the first. Don't forget that you need to skip the next one and then single crochet the next going up. You'll put your 3s in the peaks, and then you'll skip your 2s in the middle section just like you had. And so this is going to be number 13 and 14, so please do that, and I'll be back in just a moment just to carry you on in the pattern. So I'm now all the way across. I've now got my colors done then into row number 14, so I can finish this. I now want to continue this particular piece, and we've got to do 5 more rows with whatever color that you want it to do. So I'm going to return back to it can be anything. Let me just look at my collection here. I'm going to go for purple. What the heck, right? And so then that will be the final of the sequence, and then that final color will then in the next panel will butt up against here. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So let's do 5 rows of doing the single crochet, which I already know. I'm going to just pull off. I'm just using some spare yarn today, as I mentioned, and starting off and beginning. I'm finding this actually really quite easy. I think stars are really quite intimidating, but once you get beyond it, it's actually pretty good. So that was a standing single crochet, but you could have joined it, chain 1 single crochet in, skipping the first one out of course, and then you're just going up and down. So do 5 rows of this color. You can change colors as often or as little as you wish in this particular pattern, but it's really quite a great day today. So continue that, and I'll get these 5 rows done off camera, and I'll be right back in a moment. So I've now just finished the final. Good. This is what one panel looks like. This is 1 of 5. So I know what you're thinking, because I was thinking the same thing too. This does not look balanced. I expected that the whole panel will have this on this side, but it will. And the fact is that once this panel is done, you just put it off to the side and you do the next panel. So the next panel will be whatever colors that you finish off of here will butt up against here, and it will be sewn at this particular point. So if you're watching the color sequence, it'll match exactly what you see with the particular sample. There is no border for this thing. Once you have everything sewn together, and I'll just do a quick demonstration on that just to verify that you understand this. This is an advanced level, experience level, is that you can then turn the blanket upside down. So once you have all of them stacked up against each other and sewn, you can turn the blanket around, and you will notice in the pattern it will state that there is an additional stripe row section, and this is for the base. And so what you're doing is, so with the right side facing up, and you can tell that because of your stitch markers, is that you will do the sequence with what you already know, and you can use whatever colors, but you can have the balance point of those colors if you were just keeping in the sequence. So just keep an eye on that. And so you will do then rows number 1 all the way through 15 only, and because you already have these already completed right here, so you don't have to worry about that, but you have to just build the rest that were right here, right? Really quite a neat idea. So let me just show you how to do that. You can refer to the pattern if you need that help, but I'm going to show you just how to attach panels together, and using an invisible stitch that you can use, a whip stitch. If you want to single crochet it together, you'll have a raised line when you do that. You could also just single crochet or whip stitch the stitches as a group, and it will cause it to buckle, but I'm going to show you how to do it with an invisible seam line style. So let's say we want to join our panels together. So the other panel will look like this and it will be buttoning up against here, so you'll have the pink kind of coming into the spot. So what I'm going to demonstrate for you now is that you have to choose the color of either this side or the side that's butting up. Don't choose something else, because then you'll see it. And what you're doing is that you're doing it, I'm going to show you an invisible seam line, and so it'll puzzle together very much like a jigsaw when everything comes together. So let me just show it here. And you want to create a slip knot on one side, and on the other side that's the one you want to put through a tapestry needle. And I'm going to demonstrate this. I know this is not the same thing, but what you want to do is that on the one that you are about to attach, I want you to favor the back loop only here. The back loop on one side. Let me just bring you in nice and close. The back loop on the one side. This one here, I want you to focus on the back loop here. So I'm ignoring the two loops that are on the front side of this, and what I want to do is go in here, and what I'm doing is a whip stitch, and you want to create this strand be long enough to go all the way across, so it'll be a long strand. So you're just going to pull tight, leaving the straggler down on place. Go to the next back loop on this side, and then the back loop on the other one, and just for a few inches, like maybe 2 inches, just do it so that this straggler that we're working with catches underneath the stitch work. And what this is doing is it's putting in the joint to fall into a groove that is created by just using the back loops. And because I'm using one of the colors, I could have used blue as well, it becomes very much of a hidden item. So once you feel like you have enough of this straggler caught inside this, just push it to the back side and deal with it later. Any woven ends, just deal with it later with your tapestry needle. So continuing along, this is the whip stitch as we jump across, and then coming to the next one, and you're just matching stitch to stitch because your stitch count should be the same. And what this is doing is that it's having it pulling it in. So every now and then give it a good tug, and because you're using the same color as one of them, is that it looks like it blends really well. And you continue to work in that motion. So once you get beyond the straggler that you have to bury, then it becomes a lot easier. So pull things nice and tight as you go, so don't be afraid to do that, and then continue along. So you will just go in the up and down motion. So you'll have your piece and it will come in and out, and you just follow it as you go, and you can see it looks like really a nice seam line by doing it that way. So that's how you would join it if you want to. There is no border on this, but people will ask me anyway. So if you're gonna do a border, maybe a single crochet border, choose a color that you prefer. To do that, that's up to your own personal creativity, but ultimately at the end of the day, this has been a great day, and I just realized just minutes ago that it's an advanced level, so maybe that's why it was always kind of hard for me in the beginning, because I was still trying to build my skills. So that's it for now, and we hope you have a good one, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.